start, I want to know,
Yep.
where did you come up with the name For King and Country?
Yeah, so we were working many years ago with a producer, and we were at the time we were known as Joel and Luke, very, very creative name. And we knew that we didn't want that name.
Yeah.
And so we had come into the studio Joel actually had with the name All the King's Men. And we had said that to the producer, and he spun around and he's like, oh, no. What about the British mantra that they used to chant before going to battle, for king and country? And we'd always said that we wanted a name that had, power and meaning. And, I think what we pretty quickly realized that for king and country, is kind of a mission statement all wrapped in one. I mean, the reason why we do music is for king and for country, for people. And so it just felt very purposeful. It felt right. And so here we are many, many years later now as for king and country.
That's absolutely brilliant. I do want to know, did you and Joel always know, okay, music's what we want to do. This is kind of what we were created for on earth. Let's go for it.
Absolutely not. No, Joel and I didn't get along very well, actually, growing up.
Wow.
Everybody thinks that, Joel and Luke, they must be just have always been the best of friends. And actually, it was quite the opposite. We were a little bit like the opposite sides of magnets. We were going in pretty different directions. And I wanted to play sports growing up. Knew I wouldn't be like a professional athlete per se, but thought maybe I could get a scholarship or something. And my 11th grade year, junior year of high school, I actually tore my ACL in my left knee and during a game, and felt like that was a way of God saying, I don't want you to play sports. And so I pretty quickly reevaluated a lot of different things, and finished high school and didn't go off to university. Felt, I wasn't meant to. And soon after, Joel comes to me and says, hey, man, what do you think about writing songs and seeing on some demos and just seeing where music takes us? And it was actually really in that process that Joel and I actually really bonded, for one. Wow. And for two, that I actually felt the significant power of music. I had always liked music, but I've been around music, my whole life. My older sister's an artist, and kind of actually made fun of people that were in music, because in Nashville everybody's doing music, and then I felt pulled by music. It was something I'd never written songs before, and so I had to kind of go to my own college, my own university, of learning how to write songs, become quote unquote a poet, which I still wouldn't really think of myself as, but you go through that process. So anyway, maybe in some cases, I'm still waiting for the moment to fully have the lightning strike moment of being called to music, because it just feels like it keeps pulling me along.
Wow, that's quite incredible. And you mentioned, quite a, musical family, and you're only like 2 of 7 siblings. You mentioned your sister's also an artist, and your whole music is a bit of a family affair, because dad's involved and you've got one of your brothers that's involved with you guys.
Yeah, look, I mean, our dad is our manager, but he also he partially owns the band with Joel and I as well. And look, I mean, our older sister, Rebecca, her stage name is Rebecca St. James. And so we grew up on the road with her. Our next brother down, Daniel, he runs all of the visual creative side of what we do live, which he's brilliant at. Our next brother, Ben, is a film director. So he does all of our music videos, directed a film a few years ago with us. And there's Joel, and there's myself. My little brother, Josh, is our general manager. So he's actually kind of the boss of me. And then our little sister, she actually was one of the people that came up with the design of the crest that we have as well. So, it's all pretty intertwined. And, most of the time that's an amazing thing. Other times it can get a little complicated, but life is complicated no matter who you work with. So.
I was about to say, as it is in big families, I've got 3 siblings myself, love them dearly, but as it is in families, it always gets complicated at some point.
That's right.
I have to ask, because you and Joel both speak about the importance of family, and you're both married now, and you have kids. Is it tough then to go on the road and do touring? Because I'm assuming you don't always take your families with when you're busy touring.
I mean, look, absolutely. That's the hardest part of what we do, is saying goodbye. I mean, I think in some cases you probably have a lot of artists work a lot longer if, they could just write music but for the most part, if you write music and you don't perform music, it just doesn't really pan out. And so, it's tough. I bring one of the kids with me pretty much everywhere we go. We got 4 kids. And so the 3 older ones, I try to anyway, just rotate them through. We do some unique schooling things to make it to where they can kind of come and I become a teacher out on the road for a few days. And those are things that help. But the person, obviously it's most difficult is for my wife. I mean, she's an amazing person. If she didn't have, I think, vision for what we do as well, then it makes very little sense, to kind of do. But we always come back in between every trip. So we usually work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. And for the most part, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're just home. I mean, we're not trying to do nothing at all other than just be home. And so that's where that makes a little bit of sense, because what I've realized, if I had a 9-to-5, job, it's still very little time at home. You see your kids a couple hours, maybe in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, and that's it. Where I try to make it to where when I'm home, I'm home.
Yes, absolutely.
We get all day, every day that I'm home. That's the idea anyway.
So when you're not making music, what do you do in your spare time? So you mentioned you do actually have a love for sport, and I suppose being Australian, you would a lot of competition with South Africans all days.
That's right. You guys won the rugby. You guys won the rugby. Bravo to you.
Thank you very much. But what do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, I haven't actually been able to play as much sport now. I still probably consume too much sports. I still love watching the NBA. I still love watching, whatever. But it's not as important to me as it once was. Put it that way. And so now we live in the country. We actually run a little small farm that we have 10 cows, and so we between we have some chickens and different things, and so that's probably what most of the time is spent doing, which I never thought. I'm not that guy, and yet here I am. I go out and feed the cows and become a little bit of a cattle farmer, and I love it. It's very I don't really know that much. I got friends that do, but it's just fun it's always fun to learn new things and find hobbies. Being outside is a real. It's always funny, like when you got to go do that task outside, you're always like, oh, I got to get to it. Then when you're outside, you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah,
it's like always that way. And so it's a little bit like that. It forces us to kind of get out and take care of things, and it's special.
That's really nice. You had surgery on your vocal cords last year, if I'm correct. Everything good now?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's that was a little bit more of a journey than I think I realized. I needed something to get fixed. I had a polyp on my vocal cord, and when we were preparing for the surgery, I actually felt great. Went and talked to some friends and said, hey, be praying for me. This is it's an interesting thing it's not a painful surgery. It's just a very unknown thing. And you're talking about, people don't realize your vocal cords are literally like just about an inch, so it's very, very small. And so every millimeter is very, very, very important. And so I had some friends say to me, like, are you sure you want to do this surgery? Like, it could really mess things up. And, I said, well, aren't you a great friend? They said, we pray for me. So I go through the surgery, feel good. The problem with the surgery is you actually can't talk for 5 days after. And so you don't really know, how well things went, if that makes sense, for a while. And then when you start talking again, it doesn't sound good. And so it just slowly gets better. And so I was told, hey, you're going to be able to tour again about 2 months. And that was true, but it wasn't still quite right.
Okay.
And I would say even now, it's been a few months, it's probably about 85-90%. It feels pretty good, but there is still some growth. And they told me later, they're like, well, really, the full healing period is 18 months. And I was
really?
Like, oh. Yeah. So here I am. So I feel good. I can do everything I need to do. Occasionally talking too much, I have to be very wary of that.
Okay.
For some reason, the talking is more difficult than the singing, which is unique. But here we are.
I just want to say, having a good laugh with you now, I was watching one of your Instagram videos, and one of your directors tell you, for unsung heroes, you need to smile more, and unless you smile, they're not cutting you out of the video. And I thought that was such a lovely piece that you actually guys put on your social media, because it just actually, it's like such insight to people that you never actually see. That was brilliant for me, actually.
Yeah, it's funny, that was probably me talking with my brother Ben. and I don't make this as a loaded statement. If people only knew all of the things that go into it's fascinating, because I'm not an actor, but there's elements of doing these things where, you know, the camera speaks in a certain way. And so, yeah, he was reminding of, man, smiling's a good thing, you know, and you can get very serious in your task, and you can get very laser focused, and I got to do it this way. I got to do it. And then you forget to just be yourself at times, you know? And so, yep, it was pretty humorous.
So I have to say, you know, listening to your whole body of work that For King and Country does, Burn the Ships must still be one of my favorite songs, not just of For King and Country, just one of my favorite songs. It really is such a song that, you know, when you're having a down day or whatnot, and I'll put it on loud, and, you know, when you hit that chorus and go step into your new day, it's such a powerful song. And I think that's brilliant about all your music. It really speaks to the soul. And I was also listening to your Drummer Boy live, your Christmas concert at the stage, and I was like childlike excited about that, because I think so often we read about, you know, spiritual music or, you know, gospel music, and people sing the words, but it's almost like the meaning goes missing somewhere in between. And watching that concert, especially the Drummer Boy concert too, I had like goosebumps from head to toe, and Heavenly Host, and I was going, wow, what a song. I love that. It speaks to your soul, to your spirit, and it really is so amazing that you're able to do music like this.
Oh, you're very encouraging. You know, the two of those songs are very, you know, personal songs, you know, for us. I think that the challenge with music is, if you think through what the listener wants, you don't usually write good songs. You know, if you think through what resonates with your soul, you write better songs, because, you know, we're not as different as we might think, you know, and I think I realized pretty early on in writing music that if I could write songs that resonate with my soul, there's a good chance that there's millions of other people in the world that are going through very similar things. And you know, Burn the Ships is a very, very special song for me and my family, and you know, you take a song like Heavenly Hosts, I wrote that when I was picking out potatoes from the garden, you know, and on a very, very hot day. But God has unique ways of speaking to people. And, you know, I've often joked that, you know, music has a way of making the medicine go down. And you can talk about very real things, but you can create the feeling with the music. And, you know, music is a gift, you know, and I think there's a reason why in heaven it talks about the angels singing a lot. Is because, you know, how many people, even bad singers, do you know, that don't enjoy music and don't enjoy singing? And I've never met someone that doesn't like music. Now, it may not always be the genre that I like.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can talk to basically anybody. They may like classical. They may like opera. They may like country, rock, whatever. But I've never met somebody that doesn't like music. And I think that speaks to its inherent, just the spiritual side of it.
Wow, that's incredible. So a new album being released on the 11th of March. I'm very excited. I just listened to the 4 singles that you've dropped already, Relate, Together, you know, and Unsung Hero. I have to tell you, once again, Unsung Hero, absolutely love it. Also watched the clip where you played it to your parents for the first time when they heard it, and it's such a beautiful, emotional moment. And you also described this as one of your most personal songs that you guys have done.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, when you make a music, you're kind of thinking through, how did you get there? You know, how did we become who we are? And music, you know, without my parents, you know, and you know, my dad works with us, but our mother is kind of this one who's always been behind the lights to a degree, you know, but she is you know, my wife would say this, she is the family. If it wasn't for my mom, you know, we don't have, you know, the lessons that we've been taught. You know, we don't have. She's a very stable, very, very, you know, spiritually sensitive person that shepherded us through, you know, our life. And, you know, so in some cases, you know, we started talking about, well, what would it be like to write a song for our parents? You know, to just in a song convey to them what they mean to us, and to be able to say, you're my unsung hero, and I sing this song for you is, you know, I think it's the ultimate compliment that it's real, you know, for both Joel and I. our mother is one that, it's funny with all the kids, we go up and say hello to mom and dad, and you will basically see every single son go up and kiss our mother on the cheek every single time. There's this reverence and respect that is not just told, and it's not even just taught. In some cases, respect is earned, and she's earned it from all of us kids.
Oh, that's beautiful. What else can we expect from the rest of the album? What are we waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, look, people, I think artists in my situation get caught in the trap of talking about the latest record being, this is the best record we've ever made. And the problem with that is it's actually not our job to make that statement. That's up for everybody else. Yeah. Everybody else's opinion is actually what matters. Very little to once you've created the art. I mean, it goes and other people decide if it's good or not. And for us, look, it's going to be much, it's going to be much the same as the past, as far as the writing should feel very personal. It should feel very real. It should feel very tangible. There's some sonic evolution and pushing of sounds, but at the same time, it's obviously still my brother and I singing, and so there's a degree of glue that still makes it feel inherently for King and Country. But there is some special, I always, my dream is always to make an album that tracks 7, 8, and 9 feel just as important as 1 through 5. And my hope is that this is that one. There's even on Burn the Ships, there's a couple songs I wish we could have had again. But there's a song on there called Cheering You On that hasn't been released yet. My son came to me and he said, my oldest boy, he said, "Hey, Dad, so you're going to die one day, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, I will die." And you could see it was rattling him a little bit. Yeah. And I said, "But man, hopefully not for many years, and you'll have your own family, and it'll still hurt, but it won't hurt the way that it hurts right now." And he looked at me and he goes, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, I'm going to learn everything I can from you until that day comes, Dad." And I was like, whoa, what this amazing statement. Yeah. And so then there's a song called Cheering You On there that talks about, well, what would I say? What would I actually tell these kids that, say if I didn't get the moment to actually write out a list, what if that list became a song? And so there's things like that are this is very real. It's very personal. That's very, very special. And so hopefully it is an album that people enjoy and it encourages and spurs on. But like I said, that's for you guys to decide.
I mean, I can't wait, and I'm going to have to listen out for Cheering Me On. That's definitely on my list, making a note there of that. Last question, Luke, before I let you go. What is it that you hope comes through in your music? Like, what do you want to reach with it? Even if you think about, it's God-given talent. God gave you talent, gives you these opportunities, doors open. What do you hope people get from listening to your music?
Well, I think people feel inherently lonely in today's day and age. We have the ability for more connection, but yet for some reason it appears that we're more lonely than ever. And I think that music has a way of comforting the soul. And I think the reason why is because I think everybody's asking, am I the only one who's going through this? Am I the only one who's struggling? Am I the only one enjoying? I've often said that music should be written about the greatest highs and the lowest lows, because everything in the middle we don't remember. Yeah. And I hope that music becomes people's companion. I hope that it makes people feel less lonely. I hope that they listen to a song and they go, "Oh, that's what I walked through." And if Joel and Luke are going through that makes me feel like God sees me. It's fascinating. When you talk about what God can do in life, I mean, he could make the rocks come up, and he could do all the superhero things if he wanted to, right? But most of the time he chooses to use people. And so I hope that God uses music to help other people. I hope that God uses me to help other people. I hope that in some cases I can be the answer to a prayer. I hope that for you as well, that we can be people that when somebody's praying for something, that it's still God working through us, but we the answer. And that's what I hope with this new record. And music isn't everything, but it's something. And I hope that music has a way of getting to people's souls, bypassing their head, getting to that soul, and hopefully it's catchy so that we're reminded of a truth that feels real, that helps people through their days. It helps people through their lives.
Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. I hope that South Africa is on your list of countries that you come to tour or visit soon. That is my hope.
We would absolutely love it. It's obviously, we all know this, a unique time in life to try and go across borders. But that being said, we hope the same. I've heard nothing but beautiful things about you, your country, and would love to come visit sometime.
Luke, thank you so much for your time and chatting to us today.
No worries at all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now go get some sleep.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye now.